Hooray for Hollywood. That screwy bolly hooey Hollywood. Where any office boy or young mechanic can be a panic with just a good-looking pan. And any barmaid could be a star maid if she dances with or without a fan. First of all, what the hell is a Bollywood? Bollyhood? Hood?
Who knows?
And what the frig is a good-looking pan? I mean, you got to have good cooking ware to make it in Hollywood or something? I don't get it. Song doesn't make any sense. You know what does make sense? Death by camera on this episode of Attack of the Killer Podcast.
Attention planet Earth and beyond. Stay tuned for Attack of the Killer Podcast. 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 Yay.
And action. It is I, your director, Insane Mike, and this is episode 231 of Attack of the Killer Podcast. This episode we call Death by Camera. What's that mean? Well, we will be discussing movies where maniacs and psychos use cameras in their evil deeds. A character trait that can be used as, say, like a device through the eyes of the killer, or used as a satirical commentary on movie making. And not all the films we'll be discussing are even found footage. So there's that. Now, Attack of the Killer Podcast is a horror movie podcast where a group of friends, we get together, we talk about what we love, horror movies, and we usually do it within like a certain topic. We talk about it so casually that we even forget we're recording a podcast. At least Tad does anyway.
Yeah.
So there may be spoilers. You've been warned. One of the films we'll be talking about tonight is very meta throughout in a way that has never been done before. And one of the themes within the movie covers the current trend of crowdfunding to create one's art while also being a film that is also crowdfunded. Speaking of funding, you can help support the show by becoming what we refer to as an attacker. An attacker is a very special class of fans that help support the show. However, being an attacker does not go unrewarded. You can get all kinds of different bonus content for being an attacker. You can get you can get your very own membership card and official certificate. There are also bonus episodes, so you can get the show every single week instead of every other week like those normies. We also have different video series that you can get as well. There's Insane Mike's 1 Minute Top 10 list, video updates, and killer critiques. But that's not all you can get. Check out all we have to offer for yourself. So go to the site, jointheattackers.com. There you'll see all the different tiers with all the different stuff that you can get. So join the Killer Podcast family by going to jointheattackers.com and help support the show. Well, we'll look at the time. That's right. It's time to introduce you to the podcast crew. He's a big Lord of the Rings fan. He's always Tolkien about it. Jason.
I like it, and it's true. Hey, everybody, thanks for listening.
He was working on this one movie as a set designer, but he was quickly fired for making a scene. Tad.
Hey guys, thanks for listening.
He bought a bootleg copy of the movie Bohemian Rhapsody. He thinks someone filmed it in a theater because he can see a little silhouette of a man. Andy!
Pretty good one.
Hi, how's it going?
Hey, at least it wasn't something about chips.
Chip. Oh, yeah, because he's always the one to bring the bag of chips.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. I am so pumped, guys.
How pumped are you?
I am so pumped. This summer will be the release of the lost George Romero film Amusement Park.
Ooh.
I know. I am a huge, as everybody knows, I'm a huge George Romero fan, especially like the 70s and early 80s era George Romero. And so I have been going crazy ever since the George A. Romero Foundation announced that there was this lost Romero film that's getting ready to hit the public. And now this summer, we will get to see it. And when it is streaming in the all over the world, it'll be streaming on only one place. You know what that's going to be?
Where?
Shudder. Shudder, the Netflix for horror. If you are a fan of horror at all, you should be watching Shudder. From their live stream to their huge catalog of films, shows, and original programming, there is something for every horror fan. You need to get signed up for Shudder today. If getting to see amusement park George Romero's Lost movie isn't enough to convince you, how about you try a month for free on us here at Attack of the Killer Podcast? That's right, we are giving you a month of Shudder for free. To get that free month, you just simply enter our promo code AOTKP and you'll get your first month for free.
I'm not sure they get it. There's a ton of awesome stuff on Shudder.
There is. Name 12.
Well, number 1, Joe Bob.
That's 1 through 12 right there.
Exactly.
What else do you need? They have also, was excited, I have yet to sit down and do it yet, but they just put on a crap ton of Giallo.
Oh, I know.
movies.
Yeah.
You don't get that crap on Netflix.
No.
So again, that promo code is AOTKP. And hey,
I say Netflix is the boring Shudder, not Shudder's the Netflix.
Yeah.
ooh, nice. I like that. I like that a lot. Again, promo code AOTKP. And hey, while you're at it, why don't you just let us know what you're watching on Shudder? And speaking of what you've been watching, it's time to talk about what we've been watching with what we watched with Tad.
Well, we're in an exciting time. It's just about Oscar season. They were actually announced on today, the day we're recording this. And I'm guessing that nothing the rest of you have watched was nominated. But let's kick it over to Andy. What have you watched?
I didn't watch a whole lot. I didn't get a lot in as much as I would like to, but I would like to talk about 2 films. One's not necessarily horror, but it's a Clint Eastwood flick called Richard Jewell. Have any of you guys seen this?
So good.
Yeah, it had me fooled like most of the way. I mean, I was convinced that this Richard Jewell character was responsible for all this, because I didn't, thankfully, because the wife and I watched it, I was convinced that, spoilers, people, I was convinced that this guy had done this, but apparently he was wrongly confused by, not convicted, but
Accused.
Accused, thank you. He was wrongly accused by everybody, including, local police, the FBI, the public, the press. And if you look into this guy's past, you can kind of see why they were thinking that way. But it's Robert Hauser. I think that's the guy who plays Richard Jewell. He played another heavyset character in I, Tonya, and he's in the second season of Cobra Kai, I think. He plays Stingray.
Oh,
He's actually a great comedic actor, but he's actually a really good just actor in general. It's a really good movie. Sam Rockwell, Olivia Wilde. Sam Rockwell in this is amazing. I love his character. He's hilarious. Highly, highly recommend this movie. If it's on HBO Max right now, but I think it's like leaving sometime really soon. So, but if not, watch it someplace else because you won't regret it. And Kathy Bates is in this, and she's always amazing. John Hamm.
I'm hungry.
Yeah. But that's really good. And then just to please Tad, I watched a really, really old movie from the 80s. It is called Aerobicide, and it's also called Killer Workout.
Yes, Killer Workout.
Oh, dip me in dog shit. It's so bad. But I love it. I love it. It's one of those so bad it's good movies. I can't tell you like any. Marcia Carr is in it, and she was in a lot of. I think she was in Savage Streets and like Chained Heat and stuff like that. But this has literally got to be the weirdest damn exercise studio I've ever seen in my life. Like it's got like staircases and stuff. But the eye candy in this is actually pretty good for the 80s. The kills are very, very different because I don't know how you're going to kill somebody with a giant safety pin, but okay. I mean, the movie's just really, really laughable, and I think that's why I enjoyed it so much. I mean, we could riff tracks the living shit out of this thing. I think most of the budget was spent on members-only jackets and Aquanet and leg warmers.
Oh man, don't say members only jackets. Now Brandy's gonna want to watch it.
Oh yeah, there's at least there's got to be a few of them in there, and it's got such a typical cop trope in it. You know, it's just like he's got lines, and he's like, "I'm just doing my job, and I'm gonna get to the bottom of this." I have sunglasses on and I'm determined, you know. It's just like that kind of stupid, goofy shit that I'm watching it and I'm just like, God damn. I just like, this is like murdering my eyes, but I can't look away. But yes, killer workout if you want a good laugh and yeah, and it's everybody's very, very fit that I noticed in this, and it's only got one really heavy set person riding like a stationary bike at the very end of the movie, which is makes it even funnier. So
it's directed by David A. Pryor, where bad movie fans would know the movie Deadliest Prey.
Okay,
I don't know if you've ever seen that. It's like
I've heard of it.
It's a pretty infamous bad movie, so much so that a few years back, because of its cult badness status, he ended up making a sequel to it called Deadliest Prey.
It also, I will say that if you ever watch this, and I hope you do, and I'm sorry, you know, preemptively, Freddy Krueger will have a girlfriend in this movie. I'll just say that she's very burnt and very naked. So.
All right, Jason, what have you watched?
Well, let's see. I actually haven't watched a movie since the last episode. I've been watching a TV show.
Wow.
And I guess I'll go back to this. So, over the last few years, I've been... I know a lot of you guys have listened to Postmortem with Mick Garris. I mean, it's a fantastic podcast, and just over the last few years, he has had a lot of guests from a movie that he did called The Stand.
Oh, so you're watching the newsstand.
And so I, in my head over the last couple of years, every time he'd have a guest on, or he'd always talk about it and the stuff he's filmed, and I would think, you know, I need to go back and watch that. And I just hadn't got around to it. And then recently getting Paramount Plus, the newsstand. Here's the thing, guys. The thing I want to do the least is oversell it. So please listen to this next sentence with a grain of salt from the guy who loves everything. But this might be the best TV show I've ever seen ever. Oh my God, this is so awesome. Oh my gosh, it's so amazing and great. And I loved it so much. And I don't even know where to start. I mean, last weekend I watched the first couple episodes, and then every night since then, I'd watch one episode a night. There's 9 episodes. They're maybe 45 to 55 minutes long. And I just loved it. And I'm afraid that it's going to be a thing relating to our last bonus episode.
You'll have to defend
that
it.
I'm going to have to defend it, and I don't know why. I'm afraid of that because I love it so much. But this show was incredible. I mean, I was going to be like, because one word, Whoopi Goldberg. See, sold it. No, but it's got Alexander Skarsgård as Randall Flagg, Amber Heard's in it. It's got Greg Kinnear and
Does Joe Bob show up?
nope, James Marsden
Damn
and it.
Johnny Smith?
I loved it. I was so involved and into it, and I couldn't remember the original enough to remember exactly how it was going to go, and so that was really fun. I don't even know how close to the book and or other one they did, but guys, I'm telling you, please watch it.
Well, I'm glad they found somebody who enjoyed it.
See, don't say that. Don't. Have you watched it yet? Or are you just
No,
trying
I
to get me
haven't.
stirred up, you son of a bitch?
A little bit of that, and
Yeah.
the three
Yeah,
people or
big
so
surprise
I know,
there.
the three or so people I know that have watched it have had mixed to negative things to say. But
I'm sorry you have terrible
That's-
friends, but
You're my friend.
I know, terrible. But yeah, can't recommend it enough on Paramount Plus. It's freaking wonderful. I loved it. It's really great, and there's tons of blood and gore and scary, and it's definitely all of Stephen King's awesomeness. And I don't even want to watch the Mick Garris one again. Like, it can't.
I'm just gonna say I love the Mick Garris version. I'm saying
Okay.
that out loud, very loudly right now. I love the Mick Garris version. But yeah,
That loud.
it's gonna be, it's
It would be a hard
90s
rewatch.
made
Yep.
for television, CBS commercial television, for
Yep.
crying out loud. Yeah, so it's probably gonna be. It's like comparing the original It to the new It, as far as visually, financially, and whatnot. So.
Yep, and this one definitely has cursing and a little nudity, but a lot of gore, and it definitely, I loved it, guys. The Stand. Let me know what
is
you
that
think.
all you watched?
That's it. That's me.
Okay. Well, let's kick it over to Mike. Last but not least.
This is weird. Like, Jason has next to nothing, and I had to narrow mine down to 3.
Haha.
So I'm going to start off with the one that I want to talk about the least. Brandy's been on this like big Lin Shaye kick lately, which is awesome because Lin Shaye's awesome.
Yeah.
So, but she likes going down certain rabbit holes of, things that, certain actresses will agree to do just about any movie to get a paycheck. So we watched Midnight Man from 2016. Now I set that up badly. It's not a bad movie. It wasn't always necessarily my cup of tea, but it had some really cool scenes. But basically, there's this game that you play, and it summons this creature known as the Midnight Man, and he uses your fears to kill you and that kind of stuff. And it also has Robert Englund in it, so it's got that going for it. So, and Midnight Man from 2016. There's only 5 or 6 different movies called Midnight Man, so it's the one from 2016 if you want to watch it.
I just love now we're 2 episodes in a row. You start with Brandy made me watch this, and I didn't.
That's
like it.
not at all what I said. That's
I
not what I
love it.
said at all.
I love it.
She did not make me watch
Right? No,
it.
it's Lin Shaye. Of course, you want to watch it.
Heck yeah. Oh man, which one do I want to talk about? Because the next 2 I'm really excited about. Just because these are more my speed. I'm gonna go with the most outrageous one. I watched the 1990 film The Suckling. First time watch.
Huh.
Oh, this movie was great. I remember seeing little bits in Gore Zone about this movie when it was being made or whatever, and always saw the creature. They would always highlight the creature, and it was a cool looking creature design. Looked like a decent creature costume. Basically, The Suckling. Here we go. You guys ready? A pregnant woman is convinced to go to an illegal abortion clinic and is drugged and is given an abortion against her will. But this is no ordinary abortion clinic. It's also a brothel. Now, her aborted fetus is flushed down the toilet, lands in some toxic waste in the sewer, and this causes the fetus to mutate and grow in size and rise up from the toilet to attack everybody in the clinic.
Oh no.
Yes. Oh, this movie is sleazy fun. Very, very politically incorrect, obviously. Very touchy subject material, but I found it so much fun. So sleazy. It was filmed in New York, obviously, and totally falls into that category of low budget 80s sleazy New York films like Street Trash, Basket Case, and stuff. So it's just right in that wheelhouse, and I loved every minute of it. The
like the Toxic Toddler Avenger, or
something to that effect. Kind of almost reminded me a little bit more, not necessarily the creature design, but when I think of this plot line, I think of the little fetus that gets flushed down the toilet in Class of Nukem High. But the rubber monster suit is just obviously way too cool for this movie. Very cool design. The transformation sequence was a lot of fun too, and watching it like grow from a little tiny aborted fetus into this like monstrosity creature. And the ending, I'm not going to give it away, but you can watch this on Tubi, and you need to, for the climactic ending, and you'll learn how the woman survives. The mother, I guess you could say, survives this ordeal. The last movie I'll bring up is a movie from 2016 that Brandy and I watched called Bad Ben. Anybody heard of this at all? I'm going to assume no.
It sounds familiar for some reason.
Where did we watch this? Maybe it was on Tubi as well. It was either on Tubi or Prime. And as we found this movie, we had found that the filmmaker had made 7 movies in this franchise. So maybe you've come across the title somewhere at some point. But it's from 2016. It's a found footage film, directed, produced, edited, written, and starring only one man, Nigel Bach. It is the most minimalistic movie I've ever seen. A budget of $300, filmed completely in Nigel's home. Basically, the story is, well, it's not much of a story, but a man buys a house to flip, and then he realizes that something sinister is going on in this house. So, it's very found footagey, very paranormal activity, but I think it's done really, really well considering what we're talking about here. One man making a movie with no budget. And I really loved and appreciated it for that. And it really got me into it. I found he did some, now it's, it's not like, any, masterpiece of filmmaking by any stretch of the imagination. It's obviously a $300 movie made by one man. But I was never bored. It's only an hour and 26 minutes. I thought it does a pretty good job giving you something with literally nothing. The only time I really kind of found myself bored, but I was actually more in shock and awe than I was pure boredom. By the time we get to the end of the second act, when shit starts hitting the fan, then we cut to a 5-minute scene of him doing lawn work, which Brandy and I laughed about because we thought this is him just filming himself doing his normal chores, and he decided to pad out the running time of his movie. But there's like some things, there's interesting things that he does with building the backstory with very little detail and not filling in all the holes in the backstory to give you the full story. That definitely makes it more intriguing and actually makes me want to check out the other films in his Bad Ben franchise. So I maybe give it a little too much credit, and Jason can appreciate this because I remember when I was in high school, I tried to make a movie with just me by myself.
You and all your friends?
Yep.
It was called Future Puss.
Future Puss.
And
it's so good, guys.
I tried making this movie to embarrassing results. And it's not good. And so the fact that this guy managed to pull off an hour and 26 minutes, I didn't fall asleep. I didn't hate it. I've actually found myself rather entertaining. The guy's no leading man by any stretch of the imagination. But I thought it was a fun watch, and actually I'm kind of itching to watch more of his films. So that was what I watched.
You might want to get that checked out by a doctor if it's itchy.
Okay.
Hey, Tad, what'd you watch?
Oh, I actually did watch a bunch of Oscar films in preparation for today's nominations, but I will not talk much about them because that's not what people come to this podcast for. So, Andy actually showed me a short documentary I really enjoyed on YouTube called Welcome Home, Mary Reber and the Twin Peaks Palmer House. And it's about the woman who now owns the Laura Palmer house from Twin Peaks Fire Walk with Me and The Return. The actual homeowner who ended up in The Return. And tried to make sure I don't spoil anything. But basically, it's really simple, but it talks about how the history of the home, the people who owned it, and the history of filming there with David Lynch, and how she came to be in the new series, and sort of behind the scenes stuff and stuff that she kept in the house original, and how they flip it, and you get to see some of the making of, and sort of how the stuff that you never really see behind the scenes, as far as how they come into a house and cover the carpet with cardboard and relay new carpet on top of it, and basically to come in and change a house completely, and then shoot for a week and flip it right back to where it was and leave. It's pretty insane. But really cool, interesting documentary. The lady's pretty awesome. I'm not sure how it's going now with COVID, but there was a point where she's still on Instagram. You could just message her and tell her like, hey, I'm going to be in town on Thursday. And she'd be like, cool, come on over. And she'll let you in the house and like dress up in cosplay and do photo shoots and all kinds of stuff. Her whole house has become a shrine. Like, she has all kinds of artwork that fans have dropped off and given to her inside of the house and from Twin Peaks and stuff. And just a really cool, neat little documentary. It's like 25 minutes or something, but very insightful. And other than that, like I said, I watched Judas and the Black Messiah. I watched Nomadland. I watched The Trial of Chicago 7, One Night in Miami. I started to watch Mank, but I knew I was going to fall asleep because it was too late and it's a long movie. But the other day, while I was doing some work on my laptop, I turned on Pluto. The horror channel's awesome. It had Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2, followed by Children of the Corn, followed by something. It's just like hit after hit, man. And it's like, I've seen these movies so much I don't even have to have the volume on. I just know it's what's happening. But just love that, I know we push Shudder on here, but if you're looking for a free app too, that's really great. I really recommend Pluto. So yeah, that's what I watch.
Yeah, Pluto is awesome. I
Spend a lot of time there.
I always have something playing when I go to bed, and if I can't think of anything else, I'll just leave it on a Pluto channel. Usually Riff Tracks.
Yep.
Or Mystery Science Theater. I love how both of them got their own channels. I mean, that's just what the brilliance of Pluto TV.
I have like the horror movie channel. I have Price is Right, Happy Days. Yeah, Jason watched like 3 hours of Price is Right with me last weekend.
It was awesome.
And then, it is really insanely awesome because it's the 70s and 80s with Bob Barker. But Three's Company, like I love the old show. So, and one thing I did also watch because I was a little short on my list. I've been catching back up with Are You Afraid of the Dark episodes on Paramount Plus. And so unfortunately don't have all of them. I went to like watch my favorite one and it's not on there, but they do have the new series. So I look forward, once I catch up with movies, to catch the new series because they just concluded season 2 of the reboot. So,
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay. Well, thank you, Tad. Now, some people smoke cigarettes. Some people smoke pot.
Mm-hmm.
Some people smoke barbecue.
Oh, no.
Here's Jason with pole position.
That's gross.
From now on, like your parents were, you are the secret force of pole position.
All right, pole position time. Let's take a look back to a past poll and let's see how Mikey did or didn't do. For
excited.
episode 229, we asked, what is your favorite urban legend? And the people spoke.
Uh-huh.
Mike had the Mothman, Tad had the Hookman, Jason had Skinwalkers, Andy had Polybius.
Libius.
Drumroll.
Jason, last place.
Aww.
I know. Tied for second place. So then I'll just say the winner. I guess people have heard of the Hookman. Turns out, Tad won that sucker.
Tad won.
Yep. So Insane and Andy both tied for second.
You can't even say Andy's. How
I know.
Everybody knows Mothman. Come on.
Bull.
Yeah, Mothman and Hookman to me like the two biggest ones.
For sure. Well, just figure out that Twitter already.
I guess I sold mine a little bit better. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe that's it, huh?
I guess I just have more fake Twitter accounts that can vote.
That's also true, probably. Well, all right, let's get into this week's poll position. The question is, and this one's so hard and difficult. I'm still not sure if I'm going to pick.
Hard poll.
Okay, so the question is, what is your favorite movie poster? Oh, I know, and we've talked for 10 years now about doing a poster episode and just about posters, but it's such a tough one to talk about as an audio podcast without showing them. But this is maybe a chance to do a little bit of that. So, Insane Mike, you are up first.
Okay, so I'm not going with the most obvious one that
We all
apparently everybody else on this podcast thought I was going to go with. I actually decided to go with the original Evil Dead poster, the one with the woman crawling out of the grave and the hand and everything.
That was in contention for me. I mean, the whole every one of the Evil Dead movies is up there.
Yeah, they all have great posters. But I just remember in particular this one as being, before I ever saw the movie, seeing that VHS on the video store shelves, and just, even when I was getting, balls deep into horror movies, I still was kind of freaked out by this poster and what's this movie going to be about?
Yeah.
And just, So I think it's a beautifully designed poster, and that's my pick.
I remember when I first saw House of 1,000 Corpses at the end when she comes out of the ground.
Oh yeah.
And I'm like, dude, that is literally the Evil Dead poster. Rob Zombie saw this poster and made a scene of it. But yeah, I remember seeing the Evil Dead 2 poster or VHS tape at Farm King, and I'd never seen the movie, and I was like, it has that skull with the eyeball.
Yep.
It really has nothing at all to do with the movie either. And I was like, what is this? And intrigued the hell out of me. And then, Army of Darkness, the classic Ash, as a king with the girl on his leg. And
And
great franchise.
What's great? Well, what's great about all those posters in the franchise, and like you said, 2 really didn't have anything to do with the movie. I mean, the one poster, that obviously does not happen in the movie at all. But you're not pissed off or disappointed. The movie's strong enough on its own. It's not like the old Roger Corman movies, like Galaxy of Terror, with this beautifully painted poster with this girl with half of her clothes ripped off being attacked by this giant sized space monster with a skull head and all this stuff. And it's like, that's not in the movie at all.
Yeah, the canon posters that they created before they made the movie.
Yes, exactly.
To sell the movie.
So with this, maybe it's because the movie is strong enough that that you feel satisfied even though you don't get what was on the poster. But yeah, all is forgiven.
All right, well, I'm going to go next, and oh my goodness, how do I pick? So since I know the answer at this point of the other two guys, I'm going to definitely pull an Insane Mike here, and yes, it hurts a little bit, but I'm just going to go down my top 3. I just can't stand it that I can't pick all these. The Exorcist poster is just the most beautiful thing I've ever seen. I mean, it's literally a shot from the movie, and when you see it in the movie, you just get chills and goosebumps, and you can just look at that shot of that man's silhouette standing outside and just feel it. Just black and white. Oh my gosh. My second favorite, maybe. That's all day. I mean, for a week I've been toiling over this. I hate it. But I'm going to say second place is The Thing.
Drew Struzan.
Yeah, man. Just that, again, that kind of silhouette of the guy with the winter cap or hood on and just that light and shards of light flying out of his face. You're like, what is this? What?
Have you seen the cosplay that that dude did?
Oh, that's amazing.
Right.
Amazing. You just look at this iconic poster and you're just like, what is going on? It's just amazing. But I'm going to go for my pick, what I think is the most iconic, the most ripped off, the most simple and yet chilling poster, Jaws. It's hard for me to imagine something less iconic, just that shark pointing upwards towards that lady swimming on top of the water and just the word Jaws up there. It evokes everything about that movie, seeing that.
On so many levels, it's a great poster. And it's like you said, it's very iconic and has been ripped off and satirized and, homaged in so many ways. But just
So
the art
simple.
itself is beautiful.
Oh, it is.
I'm looking right here at a Mondo pin set I have. One is the swimmer and one is the shark.
Nice.
It's like it's been done a million
You
times.
have shoes, don't you, that are Jaws?
I do. I have the shoes. One's the shark and one's the
Oh.
girl. I have a bunch of Jaws stuff, but at Universal Studios, like every area of the park, they have, because they used to have the Jaws ride, and they still have a lot of Jaws stuff there. They have like a Hello Kitty store, and you can get Hello Kitty with like a paw coming up, and you go over in Harry Potter, and they have like a Harry Potter. It's like they have Jaws mashed up with literally everything at the park.
Such a simplistic. It's red, white, and blue. It's a
You don't
4th
even
of
have to
July
Yeah.
movie.
Yeah, you don't even have to know the movie; you just recognize that poster.
Oh my
Yep,
gosh.
yep.
So that's my pick, Jaws. Good luck with that. Tad, you're up next.
Well, I
Yours
am
is
going
awesome.
with a theme, because my pick on the last poll position was the Tom Savini special effect. I picked the buzz cut from Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2, and I mentioned I just happened to catch it on Pluto this past week. And so I'm going with one. It's not necessarily my favorite overall. There's so many good ones. I had a very hard time like Jason, but this one I always thought was just perfectly clever, and it fit the movie so well. Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2, the Breakfast Club poster.
So brilliant.
It's brilliant because that Breakfast Club poster on its own is iconic. And Tobe Hooper's sequel to Texas Chainsaw Massacre is so goofy and fun. I actually like it more than the original. I'm sorry, Jason. But I've always I've absolutely loved Texas Chainsaw 2, and it just fits the tone perfectly. It was the perfect time. It was the 80s, and it's a goofy, fun movie. So they sort of, they put these disgusting, murderous characters, the most despicable people alive, in a silly pose from an 80s teen movie parodying John Hughes. And it's just hilarious to see Nubbins and just Chop Top, and just seeing them in that pose, Bubba, and it's just hilarious to me. And it's always, and like I said, it's parodying another poster. It's almost it's
Bubba pumping that fist, man. It's so great.
It's almost like a bad pick, because
Yeah.
but and on the other hand, it's like it's so iconically stupid. I love it.
It's amazing.
Jason's got it pulled up here, and I can see in the different thumbnails there's a side-by-side comparison of the Breakfast Club to the Texas Chainsaw Massacre one.
Dead on.
It is dead on.
Amazing.
Dead on. I love how Nubbins is Molly Ringwald.
All right, Andy. And what's your pick?
Oh, God damn it.
Right?
Here's something I gotta say. Anything from like 96 to like now is shit. This is my one bitch about this, because like you look at like a movie like Scream, and like in anything past that, it's just like here's the cast with their stoic faces, and we're pretty and we're gonna get stabbed. I mean, there's nothing to it. It's a cast photo. Who gives a shit? I mean, all the good ones are in the past. But I think that you look at, like, I think the best ones are ones that show a lot, but they don't really, they give you an idea what it's about, but they don't really tell you everything that's going to happen. Like, you look at Big Trouble in Little China, that has so much going on in it, and it's beautiful to look at, and it tells you what you're in store for.
Another Drew
what's in
Struzan
store.
poster. Yeah.
Yeah, and it tells you what you're gonna see, but it doesn't tell you what's gonna happen. So I mean, I think those are the perfect kind of posters. A lot of people would expect me to say They Live, and that's an iconic poster with the sunglasses being pulled down, but my favorite is the original Nightmare on Elm Street, because you look at it and her eyes are popping open, and do you guys ever, very rarely does a person remember exactly what was in their dream. They only have vague blurs of what happened. They have an idea, and that's like the image that is above their head. I mean, she has like 2 or 3 razors on the hand, and like it's like a blurred image. It's just like you're seeing the stream of Nancy's consciousness above her head as she just woke up from a nightmare. And I think that's so brilliant, and that's so it tells you exactly what the movie's about and what she's up against. And I think that is just awesome. And I think, and just another little tidbit, some of the foreign posters that I've seen are actually better than some of the American release movies that are out there, particularly the ones from Thailand. And my honorable mention would actually be a They Live poster from Thailand, because it's got so much stuff going on. It's got like all these other scenes in the movie, with like, the cops and, the bulldozers and the homeless camps and Frank and Meg Foster. And it gets extra points because I think it's the only poster to actually feature Buck Flower, and he's in his tuxedo.
Yeah, that's a
major
poster.
Bonus points right there. Yeah.
But there,
anyway,
it's hard to top those old painted posters.
Look at the Burning. The one from The Burning is gorgeous.
There are many. Yep. Well, all right.
Yeah, no one picked Halloween, but I love it.
It's iconic.
But it's not to me the best. And like Friday the 13th, they're really good.
Oh,
Don't I don't know. Just don't hit it for me as far as like the most.
And I'm looking up at
best
the
representation.
I'm looking up at the Monster Squad right now, and that's beautiful because it's got the monsters in the back, and all the kids are sitting on the Cadillac. I mean, that's way up there too for me.
Yep, there's some really good ones out there. Well, all right, get your butts over to Twitter. These are the ones we had to pick. We had to narrow it down, so we got these 4. So you go to AOTKP, vote for who you think got it right, your favorite poster of these 4, and that's pole position.
All right, thanks, Jason.
You're welcome, Mike.
It's time to talk about some movies. Let's do it.
Yeah.
Okay, so these again, to remind you that these are movies where basically our antagonist, the villain of the film, I guess you could say, uses video cameras in some capacity, some kind of camera in some capacity of the film. So, Tad, why don't you start us off with the first movie?
Our first movie of the night is from 1960, and it is Peeping Tom.
Look out! Look out! Look out! Take care. You are being watched. We repeat, take care, for you are now alone with a killer. We warn you, don't let him see the fear in your eyes. For this is what he seeks, and this is why he kills.
Where are you? Where are you?
Look out for Carl Byrne as the Peeping Tom. Fear him, but pity him also.
It's so good.
Watch out for Moira Shearer as the lovely stand-in who innocently dances into danger.
Imagine someone coming towards you who wants to kill you, regardless of consequences.
A madman?
Yes.
Wait!
Anna Massey is the girl who falls victim to the charms of the lonely stranger upstairs.
Switch it off, Mark. Mark, switch it off.
Maxine Audley as the blind woman who senses the danger that threatens her and her daughter, but is helpless.
Don't be frightened.
Not frightened. Hot. So put that camera away!
There is no future for anyone who tries to befriend him. He invades the privacy of innocent people till the piercing eyes of his camera meet the terrified eyes of his victims. And with a compulsion akin to madness, he shoots the final, fearful scene.
Okay, well, that didn't leave much to the imagination. I don't. I mean, I can talk a little bit about it, but it seems like I'm glad I did not watch the trailer before watching a movie because I had never seen this before. It was a first time watch for me, and apparently this is sort of a classic, so that might surprise some people. But Loner Mark Lewis, played by Carl Bone, who I absolutely loved in this movie, works at a film studio during the day and at night takes racy photographs of women. He's also making a documentary on fear, which involves recording the reactions of his victims as he murders them. He befriends Helen, played by Anna Massey, the daughter of the family living in the apartment below his, and he tells her vaguely about the movie he is making. She sneaks into Mark's apartment to watch it and is horrified by what she sees, especially when Mark catches her. Yeah, this one rules. I love this era of films. It's for the time, man. It's actually pretty damn spooky and dark. Like when he's talking about his childhood and showing that he says his father was a scientist and was doing experiments by like putting lizards on him and filming it and getting a reaction, and some of the scenes where he's slowly approaching women with a tripod with like the sharp end right up to the throats as he films them, like some really creepy stuff. And I thought a really great performance from the lead. So I really enjoyed this one. What did you guys think?
I think for its time, it's brilliant. Like you said, with the father, just kind of just terrorizing this boy just for, the sake of science. I mean, it's just like, man, that's really messed up. The performance of our lead, I mean, he kind of put off like a sort of Peter Lorre vibe to me. I don't know why. I mean, maybe you guys got that
a
too.
little bit, yeah.
Yeah. But as I agree with everything that Tad said. Essentially, I mean, this was a first time watch for me too, and I'm really glad it was on this list because it was always something that I wanted to watch. I know that the writer-director or whatever got a hell of a lot of flack for this, and it pretty much ended his career. But looking back on it now, I'm just like, this should have freaking skyrocketed him, in my opinion. The one thing that really bummed me out was the stand-in that he murdered, because I was just like, oh man, because you were really starting to like her character because she seemed like she
didn't deserve it.
Yeah, she was a lot of fun. I was really getting kind of to like her, and I was just like, oh man, don't do her like this, man. That's messed up, you dick. But I mean, he shouldn't have killed the prostitute either. He should have killed anybody. But you felt more for Vivian, I think was the character's name.
Yeah, because we got to know her a little bit in the movie.
Yeah. You sort of, you got a kinship with her, and the blind mother that can see more than anybody else. That's a little bit of a trope nowadays, but I didn't mind that. Yeah, man. I mean, it was very. I've never really quite seen anything like this. Up until now. I mean, and this was back. Would you say 1960?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think this was really, really ahead of its time. I mean, nobody's just gonna stand there and let you stab them with a camera tripod for crying out loud. But, yeah, really, really, really good movie. I really enjoyed this.
And this one gets a shout out in Scream 4 because I think it was. Oh, now I'm drawing a blank. But the character that loves horror movies says that this is the first slasher movie to use the killer's point of view. I remember that from Scream 4.
Oh, nice. That makes sense. Yeah, this is a first time watch for me as well. I mean, this movie in particular was a motivation for one of the motivating films for this topic. Because I saw it was on Tubi, and I have my little list on Tubi, and it just always been meaning to watch this movie and see this movie, and always wanting to, and then it just sat there. So I'm like, okay, gotta get motivated to watch it. I'm gonna have to build an episode around it. So here we go. But yes, I loved it because I've always heard about this movie, and it ruined the director's career at the time and everything, and it was pretty scandalous for its time and whatnot, and because of the controversy around it, it kind of buried the movie when it could have been a pretty big box office success. And you get like those big cinephiles, people like me who, will always say things like, well, yeah, Psycho's great, but have you seen Peeping Tom? So that's what made me always want to see this movie.
It's like the British Psycho.
Yeah, it really is. It just always gets brought up when people talk about Psycho. It's kind of like, oh yeah, you think Halloween was the first slasher? Well, you haven't seen Black Christmas,
Exactly.
So it's kind of the same mentality, but so it's always intrigued me and made me want to watch it. And I freaking loved it. It was very atmospheric. I love, just the Technicolor is so beautiful. So just that 60s color. I love it.
Really
60s
really
film
saturated.
Color. Oh, so just a beautiful looking film in my opinion. And the performances are great. Just all the characters, really. I don't know if it's because it's a British film from the 60s, but just all of them, all the characters are just really captivating to me, really intriguing, Felt all of them feeling a little bit outside of the norm, and that may just be for the way of the times performances are done and stuff like that. But great movie, highly recommend it.
Yep, that's 4 for 4. I really liked it a lot too. My first time, I completely agree. The performances were outstanding. I even Anna Massey, the neighbor girl, even though when we first meet her, good Lord, she's annoying. Like, shut up.
Super nosy. Yeah.
She asks 40,000 questions.
Show me your film.
Doesn't even let them answer any of them. So
Like, go back to your goddamn party, lady.
right? I know, but you like her, and you're happy to see him kind of like her, and you have to stand.
And then the blind lady is like totally cock blocking.
Yes, she is. And the stand
that Johnny Walker pretty hard too.
It's a really cool story. My only real beef besides that one girl's annoyingness, and Tina pointed out maybe more, but or she said it first, and then when she said it, I was like, yeah. And it's not a complaint that I have with most movies, but it to me and her, it felt long. Did that happen to you guys at all?
I didn't think so.
No, I mean it's an hour 40, 45, and so it's a little closer to 2 hours, and I don't know. It just it felt long to us though, because
maybe that's a slow burn for Jason. Wow.
No, it's not. I don't think it was a slow burn. It's just it
could have been.
It felt repetitive.
To be? Okay.
Yeah, it's look and feel and vibe. A lot of the same things kept happening over and over. Or maybe it is that Technicolor that just made it all seem like the same ish thing. But But no, it was cool, and the story was neat, and is of the shortage of murder weapons in horror movies, killer tripod, freaking cool.
I know, right?
Yeah.
It was neat, and I can't wait for us to fashion our tripod to at least be a little pokier. So I was questioning whether Mike would like this movie or not because the main guy's name wasn't Tom.
No, because the movie is
Sorry.
called Peeping Tom.
Yep.
Okay.
Sorry, I tried a joke there.
His first name was Peeping.
Oh,
Well, and if he would have survived at the end, like I could just see him in some prison somewhere, surrounded by other convicts who've used like cameras, maybe their phones to tape their victims or whatever, and he would be just like, back in my day, we had to use film to stalk our women, and it's just that whole opening scene where he's got that camera under his coat. And I'm like, this is really bulky.
yep.
Yeah, this movie's on Roger Ebert's greatest movies list and one of Martin Scorsese's favorite films.
Yep, I saw that.
Yeah, I really
Makes
love
sense.
the part where when you finally see that he has a mirror on the front of there, and I love that they never showed the face. Like that was super important.
Yeah.
Never, because your mind's eyes would definitely always worse. So I'm so happy they never showed this amazing death face.
Maybe one little bitty streak of blood that I saw in this on the blade, like one time. So.
Yeah, I like the scene towards the beginning in the shop where the business guy or whatever goes in to buy all the nudie pictures. I was laughing hysterically at that guy's expressions as he's flipping through the portfolio thing. And first thing in that scene, there's that little girl that walks in. There's like naked pictures of women all over the walls.
On the outside of the door.
And little girl goes in to buy a candy bar, and Brandy's like, "What's she doing in there?" I'm like, "She's buying a candy bar."
It made me think of one of the scenes in was it The Brain That Wouldn't Die? Like how he's the woman with like the scarring that's not beautiful, whatever. Like there's that scene in this where she like the model upstairs turns to the side and she has the scars on her face, and the makeup at the time was not great, but it's just funny like what at the time what we view as like beauty standards. It's always like one side of the face is gorgeous and the other is mutilated. He's like, I want to take pictures of this. And he also had a great 1958 Daytona Albatross Deluxe red scooter.
I was gonna say that Tad probably knows what he's riding.
Yeah, beautiful little retro scooter. Like probably fetches high dollar now because didn't make a lot of them, but really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just
big old fenders on it too.
It's just nice
so cool.
being on a film set in a movie. Even just watching it, it's like, man, I miss being on a film set.
Oh, God, you're preaching to the choir there, son. Cool. Yes, Peeping Tom. Definitely check it out if you've not seen it before. Great classic film. Should have gotten way more praise back in the day than it did. But Andy, what's our next movie?
Our next movie comes to us from 2003, and it is called The Last Horror Movie.
Okay, take one. It's always been a mystery to me why people make such heavy weather of disposing of a body. I mean, if you leave a severed arm and a sack full of entrails at the bottom of someone's garden, of course they're going to notice. You see that there? We're making a film of this. We're trying to make an intelligent movie about murder while actually doing the murders.
You've got to stop it. All this stuff you're doing. Hello. Can you spare us a few moments of your time?
Whatever happens, this is going to be your last horror movie.
Okay, the last horror movie. A serial killer uses a horror video rental to lure his next victim. What begins as a teen slasher transforms into a disturbing journey through the mind of Max Perry, a mild-mannered wedding photographer with a taste for human flesh. That is direct from IMDb. Yeah, this is probably not probably, it is the most hardcore of the films that we had to watch for this theme. Yeah, basically it's this guy, the movie starts out as this typical, teenage slasher. It says it takes place in Grand Rapids, Michigan at this really cool diner that I would probably want to eat in. And then it's just shows like it's been recorded over, and it's just this guy talking, and he's going on these killings, and his assistant is filming him, and it's called The Last Horror Movie because that's the name of the rental that he recorded over. Yeah, it's done very almost like in a snuff film sense. I got a very strong Henry and Otis from Henry Portrait of a Serial Killer vibe when they record their killings together. And as far as I can tell, it's kind of like Slash his confession, but it's like he's trying to get his philosophical point of view and his artistry through the way that he kills people and the way that he does things, and he makes you question your own sense of morality and like, why are you watching? Why are you still watching? And it's got some really disturbing scenes in it, to tell you the truth. Like when the footage of the couple being killed, but basically he puts the camera on the person reacting to the other person's spouse that's getting murdered, so you're not seeing the person being killed, you're seeing the loved one's anguished of the person that they love getting killed, which is a really, really different kind of concept. It's got a lot of, psych outs for the viewer because, for instance, when he goes and he finds this little boy, and you already know he's a psychopath and he's a killer, and he's got different MOs to try and throw off the authorities so he can't be caught. And immediately I'm just like, oh God, he's going to kidnap this little kid and he's going to kill him. But it doesn't turn out that way. He's actually his uncle, and he lives like he doesn't harm the kid, and he actually puts on a very normal facade for the people that know him, that he knows and that he loves. But I mean, he even says at one point, he just goes, I could kill all my friends right now, but that'd be like, too difficult or whatever. Yeah, the guy's like a full tilt, complete psychopath, and there's some great kills in this. I mean, when the assistant catches the groom having an affair at his own wedding, and then Max sets the guy on fire, like in the middle of that garage. Like, god damn. And then there's the fact that he's so calm when he's killing people, and how he's talking. It's like when his assistant, he's trying to teach his assistant how to kill people, and he actually apologizes to the woman that he's about to kill, and he says, "I'm sorry, this is his first time." And I'm just like, good God. And before I hand it over to any one of you guys, there is a very not so subtle cut, pardon the expression, but there's a not so subtle cut from when he's dismembering his assistant that he just killed to a big, gigantic plate of meat on the table. So you automatically know where the hell this is going. But not the most disturbing movie that I've ever seen, but yeah, I mean, you kind of got to be ready for this. What are your guys' thoughts?
Jason, you should go.
I'm waiting. I'm good. I'm just waiting.
Okay. Tad, what about you?
I thought it was pretty fun. I mean, fun's probably a bad word to talk about this movie, but I thought I don't know, where we sort of had that huge wave of found footage type stuff, but this had its own twist on it, its own unique vision of it. I thought it was pretty creative and cool. A neat little movie. Like, and it packs a punch in like an hour and 15 minutes. It's really short. And it definitely, they did what they could with what they had, and it actually lends to the style. Like, it makes it more believable. And the idea that, like, it makes it feel more like an actual home video is what I'm trying to say. Like, because they probably had nothing to work with, and it actually helps in this instance. But just a cool concept, well executed for what they're going for. It's not something I will put on again anytime soon. It's not like a feel-good movie by any means. And like Andy said, I've seen films that are more gruesome and mean-spirited, but it definitely isn't it's not a feel-good movie at all.
Yeah, I've always liked this movie. Fangoria, this was one of their many attempts at trying to do movie distribution. And I think this is the best thing that Fangoria has ever put out under their various production labels that they've done. I can't remember whatever inspired me to watch that. Maybe it was a rental originally. I read about it in Fangorian and intrigued me.
Can't remember either.
Yeah, but I had to own it on DVD, and I do. I really enjoy this movie a lot. And I think it is very cleverly written. It's got some of the I think some of the best dialogue in just about maybe any horror movie because of the end scene. And I wanted to know your guys' opinions of the end scene there. Like, granted, there's definitely a lot of separation by what they're attempting to do versus the reality that we're living in. Because we're watching it either streaming or DVD, and this movie was obviously made for the VHS rental market, and it's supposed to pull that kind of switcheroo on you there at the end where I feel like, and even watching it on DVD and owning it, I still get that little sense of uneasiness of like,
he starts talking to you.
Yeah, when he's literally talking to you. And I just feel like it's so well written and performed. Fake William Dafoe did a really good job in his performance as Max in this movie, because he's basically telling you at the end, like, this is real. You rented this movie expecting one thing, and as soon as this is over, expect a knock at the door, and it's showing, shots of him stalking people who rent the movie and following them to their house and stuff. And I just thought that was all brilliant. And even, it's just a little bit of dread. And I tried fooling Brandy, but I didn't do a very good job. Like, as soon as the movie was over, I pretended like there was a knock at the door.
Yeah.
I was like, "Oh, did you hear that? You better go answer the door." She's like, "Stop it." So, yeah,
you didn't go full in and like transfer it to a VHS and be like, someone left this in the mailbox.
I should have. I totally should have. One of these days, I want to prank somebody with this movie, and then like as they're watching it, just be like, "Oh, I gotta go to the bathroom," and wait till the movie's over, and then like ring the doorbell at just the right moment or whatever. It's like you hear stories of people who watch The Ring and their phone rings right as the movie's over, and it freaks them out. That's what I want to do to somebody with this movie, because it's set up so good for it.
It really
it's
is.
set up so good. And Andy mentioned the fake outs. There's a couple of really good fake outs that really has some cool tension in it. Like, again, like Andy said, when he comes up to that little boy, and the dialogue is very ambiguous, where you don't get a sense that they know each other until you realize, oh, it's his nephew, and he's taking him home to his sister's house and all this, that, and the other thing. Or the scene where, because we learn throughout the course of the movie, is why he has this assistant is because his assistant wants to learn how to kill. And so he's basically teaching this like guy how to kill. And then when you learn that, it cuts to a shot of Max's best friend being choked out by the assistant, and then you come to find out that it's just like she's just rehearsing a part for a play. So that was a really cool fake out too, that you're like, oh no. And there's a lot of cool other like little suspenseful shots of them stalking somebody with the camera guy just in plain sight. If the person just turns around and looks and sees the camera guy, which is the setup for the killer to strike too, because when they do see the camera guy, that's when Max jumps in. But you just get these like long 2 or 3 minute shots of them stalking this person. Like the woman in the kitchen is a great example of that. Where she's just doing dishes and the guy's filming her, and you see just Max on the outside of the door frame waiting for her to come walking into the room so he can attack her. So
also got a Annie Brackett strangulation Halloween kill in the parking lot too.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, I feel like it's got an interesting commentary on, us horror fans and, watching violence and stuff like that without it being overly
calls
preaching.
us out in it too, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Why are you still watching? Why are you?
Yeah, calling us hypocrites in a sense.
Yeah, and you brought up the scene which was an experiment of his when he's killing the couple. And the camera is on the other person while he's killing the other person, where you're seeing the reaction, and then he moves the camera to the dead person, and all you hear him is killing him. And then he comments on that as like, you were wanting to see what was actually happening, didn't you? And you're sitting there thinking, well, yeah,
I did.
I really did. I'm like, why am I watching this dead body when you're killing somebody off camera? Just great, right? It's such a unknown movie. This maybe goes. I may have to do an Insane Mike top 10 list about movies that I preach the gospel to, of movies that people are not familiar with and I want them to know more of. Because I always talk about Brutal Massacre and how I have to.
Almost said it.
I climb the tower and scream from the tower on how awesome that movie is. And this is another one that falls in that category.
Yep, I'm completely with you. It's just such a cool concept. I mean, when it comes down to it, it's just really neat. Not the several concepts, I guess, especially where it turns at the end. And with what Tad said, it's great to see like such a obvious low budget movie like lean into its low budgetness and use it to its advantage, and it's all that it could be for sure. This last time watching it, as much as I agree that the writing's good, I'm like fake Willem Dafoe. I'm just maybe it's a little much. I don't know. It's a lot of him, and I'm glad he's can definitely carry this movie, but there's sometimes I'm just like, man,
like
quit
he's
talking.
too much,
Yeah.
or that it's overwritten.
Okay. And there's just too much of him talking to me on the TV, but no, it's great though. It's such a cool idea that it's completely worth watching. You need to see it.
But good luck finding it, right?
Yep.
This was a challenge for everybody but me because I own the DVD. But
it is on YouTube. I
Yeah, I was
ended
gonna
up
ask,
watching
wasn't
it
it?
that way once, just with some weird subtitles. But yeah, it's out there.
rent it on VHS. That's the way to.
Yes.
And I think part of the reason why this movie just was not on anybody's radar is that it was made to be a movie that was rented on VHS from a video store. That was the purpose of this movie. And it kind of came out right at the death of VHS and video stores.
Too bad,
So-
yeah. But like you said, still at the end when he is breaking it to you, you're like, oh, this is creepy as F.
Yeah.
For real. Still, even
Still,
knowing
even
it
I've
doesn't
watched it.
work.
I own it, and I've watched it several times, and I still get that little bit of
a little bit of tingle.
I will shit my pants if my doorbell rings right now.
Yep.
Awesome. Cool. I'm really glad to hear you guys enjoyed this one.
Yeah.
This whole episode was like a means of me getting some movies off my chest. Like I mentioned, Peeping Tom was one I had to see, and I just needed that extra push. But this film and the last film are movies that, again, I preached nonstop of how much I love these movies and just want my friends to see them. So I make an episode to force my friends to watch these movies. So everybody's wondering, what's the next movie then?
What's
going to be?
I was going to say all those things. As much as watching Peeping Tom was a reason to get us to watch it, it was clear within 2 seconds of this last movie that this is completely why all these movies are on the list, so you can make us watch them. Because Lord knows you've been talking about it since it came out.
I won't shut up about it.
You won't, and now maybe we can get a break now that we've all seen it, or now you'll want to talk about it more. But anyway,
probably more.
Pretty cool movie. It's and you just went on another Adam Rifkin kick for like 6 episodes before this, so you're like, this just comes to a head for you, I'm sure. When we talk about watching the 2016 film Director's Cut.
Hello. Herbert Blunt? That's Blount. Blount. Oh, you.
Who all bought a line in the movie?
Oh, me. I bought a line.
Action.
It's like they're...
Action.
It's like... You said...
David, be
It's
quiet.
like-
David, be quiet. Action.
It's like... And anybody can then have access to all this footage from any computer?
Yep. All you need is the password.
Hey, Missy, I love you. I got a tattoo.
David, can someone get security, please? Get this fucking guy out of here.
I
want that table raised.
I'm
taking
this. No.
Who the fuck is this? This is my dressing room. You cannot be in here.
You need to be quiet. You need to be... No. You be very quiet.
An actress named Missy Pyle has gone missing.
This is crazy. I mean, where is she anyway? Why can't we find her?
Missy, the martini shot is up. Just read the lines right off the cue cards, okay?
You were very attractive.
I work in movies, so I have a good idea how evil works. We're a great team. I take filmmaking very seriously. It's my calling. It's like they're hunting humans!
Herbert Blount aspires to replace the real director of a movie and make it his own by capturing the lead actress and inflicting much horror upon her in his version. Directed by Adam Rifkin.
Woo!
Written by Penn Jillette.
Woo!
Starring Missy Pyle, Penn Jillette, and Harry Hamlin, among others. This is such a wonderful, non-traditional film from the beginning.
Yay!
Because we were like, did we get the wrong movie? Are we watching the wrong? Just from the get-go, you're like, oh, What?
I love how Andy posted in the message, just like, is there supposed to be a commentary track?
That was actually me. I'll take credit.
Or I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm sorry. It was Ted.
Yeah, right from the get-go, we're listening to an audio commentary track while watching a movie, and then there starts to be him scratching out real names and putting in his name, and the way it unfolds, it's just so great, because you're like, oh, he's just a wacky guy, to, oh, I think he really likes this girl. Oh, he really likes this girl. Oh, this is getting not okay. And just watching that unfold is so great. Penn did such an awesome job.
Oh, he's so
not
good
only
in this.
in it, but yeah, the writing is what made this so neat. Such a neat thing.
I just movies like this, and I'm sorry to jump in.
No, take it.
Movies like this, with the way it's written and the way it's put together, it goes beyond my comprehension. Like the thought process.
How did you get there with this?
Yeah. Like how did you get there, and how did you manage to make it all work and fit together?
How does the script look? Yeah.
Yeah, because it's part found footage, because it shows a lot of the raw footage of him walking around on this movie set with the camera, interspliced with this quote unquote real movie, interspliced with him doing a commentary track over the whole thing, yet we're still getting a full storyline amongst all of this jumbled mess of what we're seeing and hearing.
Of this newly cut movie from a filmmaker who's completely not a filmmaker. Penn. Trying to be gosh.
And it's very meta. I love that shit.
Big time.
Because everybody in this movie, except for Penn, are themselves.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's, the actress that he's stalking in this movie is Missy Pyle, and it's the real actress Missy Pyle, who is playing a cop or an FBI agent in the movie within the movie. And you got like, and the cast itself is just so cool, tons of cool cameos in it. Gilbert Godfrey shows up, Teller himself, and probably my favorite part of the whole movie within the movie, the guy who gets off on the
so funny.
Anyway, and Lynn Shay as the police detective, or not the police captain.
Chief.
Sorry, police chief.
That actress from Insidious.
Yeah, and and there's that moment.
Calls it all out.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's like, in these days you have to have a strong female lead in that role.
and it's got such great satire on making of movies and movies of that genre. The whole, I'm gonna say it, thriller, crime thriller genre. I love how, he's talking over the scenes where, like, in particular, the scene with the guy on the tower shooting people, and how it's blatantly, and he's like, I'm just so confused in these scenes, because is this supposed to be a flashback? Is this what's happening now? But it's clearly not our killer, and it's those things you do see in those type of movies, and I just love how it's called out. And
the fact, the way that he's dressed, the way that he is, when he's in scenes in the actual movie, he looks so insanely out of place. Like when he's running around from the shooter or in the McDonald's or what.
Not an actor.
And the fast food scene is awesome.
Oh God. But, and the one thing that just blows me away is just like, hats off to Harry Hamlin. I mean, he made vapors look even more stupid than they actually look. I mean, that thing was just like a smokestack. It was ridiculous.
Oh, the over the top gore, and which looked good and was awesome, but just so over the top. And
that makeshift shower, Jesus Christ. I mean, Jesus fucking Christ, this is cold.
Yeah, as we get closer to the end and we learn that Penn's character, what was his name again? Blount?
Henry, was it
Herbert Blount?
Herbert Blount.
Yeah, Herbert Blount.
decides that he's going to be the hero, the male hero of the movie, so he can be in scenes with Missy Pyle, and how he green screens himself into shots of the movie. One of my favorites, besides the running scenes, which are hysterical.
Where he's like running in place.
Yeah. My favorite scene where he's spliced in is the sex scene.
Well, like when they show the original sex scene, he's just talking so much crap about the dude, the lead actor.
Yep.
So funny. He's like, she's only doing this because she's getting paid, and just like ragging on the whole thing, so that we know that she's acting and she doesn't really like it.
And then when we see him, when his character gets introduced into the movie within the movie, then we see that exact same scene, only he has green screened himself over top of the main actor.
I don't think talking about this movie can ever really do it justice.
I know.
I mean, just like you really have to experience this to actually really appreciate. I mean, that's with any movie, of course, but I mean, really, in this case, you really have to watch this to actually really grasp what the hell we're talking about.
Exactly. That's been my dilemma since the first time I ever watched it. Because I can't do it justice on what you actually see.
Yeah, really clever. I'm a big Penn and Teller fan, but going back to bullshit, and I sort of told Nikki,
absolutely.
When we started watching this, I told Nikki, I was like, "This is sort of like if they did bullshit on the film industry."
It totally is. Yeah.
And he has like a new show, or not new show. It's been a couple years now. I'm not sure if it's even still on, but basically like try to trick us type thing.
Yeah,
Stump Me or something like that.
Yeah, and it's like. And it sort of felt like that, where he's always him and Penn and Teller have always been sort of known to be the magicians that will lift a curtain and show off how some things are done, and then turn around and like flip it on you. And it's like this is sort of like that in a way, where he's lifting up the curtain on how movies are done from behind the scenes a little bit, but with his dark, sick humor. Mm-hmm. And that's what I've always loved, his humor. I actually own his books on atheism, and I think he's such a smart, great voice, and I've always admired him. So I had no idea he made this movie, so I'm glad that you add it to the list. It was fantastic.
Oh, good. I'm so glad to hear you guys like this movie, because it's my favorite movie I've seen in the past, I don't know, 10 years maybe. And I've always been a huge Penn and Teller fan since I was a kid, and I mean I've got books and videotapes, and just have always followed their career. They have a tape, I think you can actually find it on YouTube. It's called Cruel Tricks for Dear Friends, and again, it's kind of like last horror movie, where it only really works in the age of VHS, but it's got all these really cool pranks that you can play on your friends, that you actually use the tape when playing the pranks. One of which is that the tape came with like these fake labels for a window cleaner that you put on a bottle. A window cleaner had a specific name on it, and the prank is you tell your friends come over, and you're like, I have this new cleaner that is so strong, it's the best cleaner ever, and you're supposed to have the tape playing, and then you spray it on the screen, and then you go to wipe it off, and the image on the tape, you're supposed to go in a certain pattern when you wipe the fluid off, because the image will distort everywhere your hand goes on the screen, and you're supposed to freak out and be like, "Oh my God, it ruined my TV." It's got just a ton of really cool pranks like that. It's a really fun tape, but yeah, I've always been a huge Penn and Teller fan. Yeah.
Good.
Oh man, I don't want to watch the movie, man. That's my suggestion, man. Just watch it.
It's streaming on a lot of places right now. I'm hoping there's a physical version out there somewhere, because I want to own this movie.
Maybe if you were a crowdfunder.
Yeah. Like I said, did you guys watch the during the credits, his little concert thing?
The whole thing.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah.
That's a lot of people, man.
A lot of people. Did you see the special thanks to the celebrity contributors?
I think so.
During the credits, there were some names that I was like, "Oh my God, that's awesome that so and so, supported this movie."
Well, I mean, think about all the people he's done magic for who've come seen his shows, he's met over the years. I mean, they've been doing this since I was a kid. And I mean, to think, it doesn't surprise me at all that he had people helping out and then, be able to get cameos from like Gilbert Gottfried, his old friend and stuff like that. So,
yeah, definitely. I wonder though, how Adam Rifkin came to be the director of this movie. Because, and again, such meta that you see Adam Rifkin, who is the director of Director's Cut, is the director of the movie within the movie, and you see him throughout all these behind the scenes shots that he did, that Penn did with his camera. And
you think he's really like that in person or a caricature?
It's hard to tell because I listened to some of Adam Rifkin's commentary tracks where he seems like he's a laid back, easygoing guy, but then he'll like do something in the commentary track that you think he's just joking around, where he's trying to be an asshole or something. But yeah, I don't know. But yeah, all those scenes are great, and Missy Pyle is awesome.
She did awesome.
She was very cool, and kudos to her for putting herself out there like that, because she comes off as a big time bitch in this movie. I mean, once we really get Penn's motivation, rightfully so, that she's a bitch, but she starts off as a bitch. Like the first behind the scenes is just her and the main guy. What was his name? Harmon.
Harry Hamlin.
Harry Hamlin. Just bickering about the scene that they're shooting, and her getting all pissed off because Penn is standing there filming the whole thing.
That tongue rapist.
Oh, yes. All right, I guess we can move on. I want to talk about this movie for like the next 12 hours, but we can't. We'll just talk about it again on the next episode. So it concludes the movies for this episode. But there's still more show to come, guys. We're going to take a break, and then we're going to come back with the segments portion of the show. You're going to hear a break. Here at the break, you're going to hear about our podcast network, the Prescribed Films Podcast Network, our very own podcast network, full of so many cool shows. Too many to name right now. So listen to this promo. We'll be right back.
You're listening to the Prescribed Films Podcast Network, home to hundreds of hours of free podcast entertainment. The shows on this network all have a common goal: providing you with the best discussions about movies and other forms of entertainment media. The PFPN hopes to fill your earholes with audio joy. Visit our website with links to all the other amazing shows at www.thepfpn.com. Thanks for listening.
And we're back. And another thing about Director's Cut. All right, we'll move on. Okay, it's time for shout-outs.
It's time for shout-outs! 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 Shout-outs!
All right, it's a good thing we had this episode today so we could teach some people about some cool movies with cameramen and cameras and directors and photographers, because there weren't a whole lot of responses, but we got a few. And on our Facebook page, on all our socials, we asked, what are your favorite horror movies with killer cameramen, directors, photographers? And we got first on the Facebook page, Nick Leadham, Cannibal Holocaust.
Oh, that's a cool. Yeah, I like that one. I like that one.
Man Bites Dog.
Yep, that came to mind, especially when having the last horror movie on there. And I wonder too if that was another reason why last horror movie was kind of buried, because Man Bites Dog came out first and it got a lot of recognition. So, but honestly, and as much as I do love Man Bites Dog, I still think last horror movie's better.
And then Nick also says, still haven't seen Peeping Tom yet, but that would probably make the list if I did. Well, it should.
And
it did.
After this episode, hopefully you will be watching Peeping Tom.
Donna Nelly says, might be a potential spoiler, but Death Walks on High Heels, which was a decent enough giallo, while the quasi-giallo Blow Up would also count. The genre has tons of good entries, but those would include huge spoilers that I doubt I can mention them like I did for Death Walks. Maybe not technically what you mean by killer photographer, but we'll also throw Shutter on the list. I have seen none of that. I always feel like Don's making up movie titles.
I know he's not.
No? Shutter sounds cool. It reminds me of Shutter. And then we got our pal, the Reebster, Mike Reeb. He says, I can't think of a whole lot, but I'm going with Sinister.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah, right? It's kind of part of that lore of that bad dude. Nothing on the group, nothing over on Instagram, but we had a couple on Twitter. We got, take that back. We have one. We got Brian Godzilla Attacker Brian, and these are great.
Okay, cool.
How about Creep and Creep 2?
Yeah.
Perfect.
Right?
Perfect. Yep. You nailed it.
Those are great.
And I yelled one out in our group chat as a honorable mention. 1 Hour Photo.
Yep. Robin Williams.
Absolutely.
One of my favorites.
Really good. Well, you still have time to leave us a voicemail if you think of one between now and then. And if you do, we can always play it on the show for you. You give us a call at 415-952-6857 or 415-958-OTKP. Leave us that voicemail. We'll put you on the show. And that's shout outs.
Thank you, Jason.
You're welcome, Mike.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, sit back, close your eyes, and try not to scream in terror as we do recasting with Christian Slater.
Greetings and salutations, and welcome to the hell that is my life and the reason my agent has gone into hiding. Recasting with Christian Slater. I don't want to be here any longer than you do, so let's just pull this band-aid off as fast as we can, shall we? Today we're going to be reading from a 1996 collaboration of Tarantino and Rodriguez called Dusk Till Dawn, and if you're a glutton for punishment, you can stay for some outtakes that didn't make the cut for the show today. Reading for the part of Texas Ranger Earl McGraw is heavy metal legend and Prince of Fucking Darkness, Ozzy Osbourne. Thank you so much for having me, and it's a delight to see you again, Jackie boy. For the last time, I'm not Jack Nicholson. My name is Christian Slater. That's why I love you, Jackie. You're always in the method. Oh, I mean Christian. Do I even look like fucking Jack Nicholson? And why are you winking at me? You're the best actor of my generation, Jackie boy. I'm now convinced you're actually Christian Slater. Jesus Christ. Reading the part of Pete is series regular Don Knotts. How you holding up, Donnie? Christian? What month is it? Is it day or night? Don't worry, Don. Just read and we'll see if we can get that phone call you were talking about. Okay. As long as the family meets the demands. Moving on. Reading the part of Seth Gecko made famous by George Clooney is equally handsome Bullwinkle Moose. Why, thank you, Christian. Thank you once again for having me. I'll have you know I'm a big fan of this film, particularly the discounts at the Titty Twister. I'm sure you are. Last and definitely fucking least, reading the part of psychopath Richie Gecko and properly fucking cast as Gary Busey. I shouldn't be hopping down this rabbit hole, but Gary, why are you holding your side?
Unbeknownst to me, I have recently donated a kidney.
Because that's something that you don't fucking notice.
Well, you know, I got people coming in and out of my place. I never know if they are real or figments of my imagination.
I'll get that a lot.
Holy shit.
Anyway, I'm at home telling these people about my LSD trips with Janet Reno and a mule. I say goodbye and go to bed, right?
I remember that party. Janet gave me your number.
Anyway, the next thing I know, I wake up in a kiddie pool filled with tartar sauce and my kidney is missing. The same thing happened at Rocky's bachelor party. And the really crazy thing is I was shaving a zebra. I thought it was another one of those fruit stripe gum commercials, so I just went with it.
Waking up in a kiddie pool filled with tartar sauce isn't fucking crazy.
Why should it be? That's how I sleep.
Of course it fucking is.
I can sympathize with Gary on this one. I once had both my kidneys removed because I don't want my alcohol filtered. It turns out my kidneys got better without me, so the bastards put them back in.
Oh, god damn it. Scene fucking 1, let's go. Fade in, exterior liquor store, day. A convenience store in a Texas suburb, no other businesses surrounded. The sign on top of the store lights up. It reads Benny Worlds of Liquor. Title card, Big Spring, Texas, 100 miles east of Abilene, 345 miles east on the Mexican border. A Texas Ranger pulls into the parking lot and a real live Texas Ranger, Earl McGarl, steps out. McGraw is in full Ranger uniform, button shirt, cowboy hat, boots, mirror shades, tin star, and a Colt revolver on his hip. It's about an hour and a half before sundown, and McGraw is off for the day. The only other car in the parking lot is a 1975 Plymouth. Interior, Benny's World of Liquor, day. A young Hawaiian shirt-wearing man named Pete sits on a stool behind the counter. A few close-up Starmers fiddle about. A man wearing a black suit, black tie, and wire-rimmed glasses holds hands with a pretty blonde girl in cutoffs and bare feet. They look through magazines. Another black suit-wearing man holds hands with a red-headed girl in a prep school uniform. They look through the beer cooler in the back of the store. Both girls are around 17. McGraw enters the store.
Hot goddamn day.
Haven't felt it a bit. Been inside with the air conditioner blasting all day long.
Not even for lunch.
I'm by myself today. Ate my lunch out of the microwave. McGraw walks over to the beer cooler as if done ritually every night. Takes out a beer, pops it open, and joins Pete by the front counter.
Jesus Christ, man, that microwave food will kill you as quick as a bullet. Those burritos are only fit for a hippie high on weed. Pour me down a bottle of that Jack Daniels, so I'm getting tight tonight.
What's the matter?
Oh, it's just been a miserable fucking shit-ass day every goddamn step of the way. First off, Nadine at the Blue Chip got some sort of sick, so that mongoloid boy of hers was working the grill. That fucking idiot don't know rice shit from Rice Krispies. I ate breakfast at 9, was puking up fucking pigs at blanket about 10:30.
Isn't there a law about something against retards serving food to the public?
Well, if there ain't, there sure ought to be. Who knows what's going on inside a Mongoloid's mind?
You could sue the shit out of her, you know? That kid belongs under a circus tent, not flipping burgers. You can own that fucking place.
What the hell am I gonna do with that grease pit? Besides, Nadine's got enough across the bed just taking care of that potato head. Then all this Abilene shit happened. You hear about that bank robbery in Abilene, didn't you?
That's all that's been on the box all day. They killed some people, didn't they?
4 Rangers, 3 cops, and 2 civilians. They took a lady bank teller hostage.
Pete doesn't say anything.
They probably make a run for the border, which will bring them right this way. And if I get our hands on those shit ices, we're talking payback time. We'll get them all right. All right, a piece. I'm gonna use your commode.
Knock yourself off. McGraw drops his last drip of beer, crushes the can, and exits into the bathroom. The black-suited man by the beer cooler turns around and, with the prep scroll girl in tow, walks rapidly toward Pete. We see that the young girl is crying.
Do you think I'm fucking playing games with you, asshole? Do you want this little girl to die? Or that little girl, or your bosom buddy with the badge, or yourself? I don't want to do it, but I will turn this fucking store into the Wild Bunch if I think that you are fucking with me.
The 2 men in black suits are notorious Abilene bank robbers, Seth and Richie Gecko, the Gecko brothers, and the other customers are all being held hostage. Seth is the one with the plep girl, Richie is the one with the blonde. Everybody speaks low and fast. What do you want from me? I did like you said.
You let him use the toilet. No store does that.
He comes in here every day and we bullshit. He's used my toilet 1,000 times. If I told him no, he'd knew something was up.
I want that son of a bitch out of here in his car and down the road, or you can change the name of this place to Benny's World of Blood.
Richard, holding tightly the hand of the terrified girl, leans next to Seth's ear and whispers something. Seth looks at Pete.
Were you giving that pig signals?
What? Are you kidding? I didn't do anything. Richard whispered something else into Seth's ear.
He says you were scratching.
I wasn't scratching.
You calling him a liar?
Pete controls himself. I'm not calling him a liar, okay? I'm simply saying that if I was scratching, and if I did scratch, it's not because I was signaling the cop, it's because I was scared shitless. Richard speaks for the first time in a low, calm voice to Seth.
The ranger is taking a piss. Why don't I just go in there, blow his fucking head off, and we get the fuck out of here?
Don't do that! Look, you asked me to act natural, and I'm acting natural. In fact, under the circumstances, I think I gotta get a fucking Academy Award for how natural I'm acting. You asked me to get rid of him, I'm doing my best.
Yeah, well, your best better get a hell of a lot fucking better, or you're going to feel a hell of a lot fucking worse.
The toilet flushes.
Everybody be cool. You be cool.
Everybody goes back to what they were doing. McGraw steps out of the back. He appears to be unaware of the situation.
Yeah, I'm gonna get you brought back at it tomorrow, so tonight I'm gonna sit in front of the box and just drink booze. How much is the bottle?
$6.50. Out of nowhere, Richard whips out his .45 automatic and shoots McGraw in the head. McGraw goes down screaming.
Fucking hell.
Ozzy, don't talk, you're dead.
I am?
Yes.
I don't feel dead.
No, you're not really fucking dead. Here, play with this ball of string. Richard stands over him and shoots him twice more. Seth charges forward.
What the fuck was that about? He signaled the ranger.
I didn't. You gotta believe me, I didn't.
When they were talking, he mouthed the words, "Help us."
You fucking liar, I didn't say shit. Richard shoots Pete and Pete falls down behind the counter. Seth grabs Richard and throws him up against the wall.
"What the fuck is wrong with you?" "Seth, he did it. You were by the beer cooler with your back turned. I was by the magazines. I could see his face. I saw him mouth the words, 'Help us.'"
While Pete lies on the floor behind the counter bleeding from his bullet wound, he opens the floor safe and pulls a gun from it. Seth releases his brother.
"Start the car!" "You believe me, don't you? Shut up and start the car."
Richard walks away from Seth and crosses the counter. When Pete springs up, gun in hand, he shoots Richard in the hand. Richie falls back to his knees, howling. Both Pete and Seth spray the store with gunfire. Seth dives down the aisle. He reloads. Pete ducks behind the counter. He reloads. Richard has crawled to safety behind the aisle. The two girls have run out screaming.
"Richie, you okay?" "He shot me in the fucking hand. I told you he said help us."
"I never said help us."
"Well, that don't matter now, 'cause you got about 2 fucking seconds to live, Richie." "Yeah. When I count to 3, shoot out the bottles behind him." "Gotcha." 1, 2, 3.
The two brothers start firing towards the counter. They hit the bottles of alcohol on the shelf behind Pete. Pete is crouched on the counter as glass, debris, and alcohol rain down on him. Seth grabs a roll of toilet paper from off the shelf. Richie keeps firing. Seth douses the paper towels with lighter fluid, sets it on fire with a Zippo, and tosses it. The flaming roll of toilet paper flies through the air. The fireball lands behind the counter. The entire counter area immediately bursts into flames. Pete screams from behind the counter. Seth smiles to himself and stands. Ricky shakes his head in amusement and stands. Pete runs out from behind the counter, engulfed in flames, still holding his weapon and firing. Seth and Richard hit the ground, firing their .45s. Pete, the Human Torch, falls like a tree onto a Hostess pastry display. Seth and Richie rise from the rubble. Exterior, Benny's World of Liquor, day. They exit the store squabbling. The store is bursting into flames.
"What did I tell you? What did I tell you? Buy the roadmap and leave." "What am I supposed to do, Seth? He recognized us."
"He didn't recognize shit." Both Seth and Richard stand opposite sides of the car.
"Seth, I'm telling you, the way he looked at us, you especially, I knew he knew."
They both climb in the car, Seth behind the wheel. Seth starts it up. The souped-up engine roars to life. We can hear Seth mumbling under the motor.
"Low profile. Do you know what the words low profile means?"
The Plymouth tears out of the parking lot backwards, hits the street, and speeds off down the road. We crane up high to see the car leaving the trail of dust behind it as the store burns out of control. All right, now time for some of these outtakes that didn't quite make the cut. As you can probably notice that chaos ensued during these cuts, and our censors wouldn't actually let us put these on the show. So I'm going to take this to page 56, and this is Bullwinkle as Chet. Take 1.
"Pussy, pussy, pussy, all the pussy must go. At the titty twister, we're slashing pussy in half. This is a pussy blowout. Make us an offer on our vast selection of pussy. We've got white pussy, black pussy, Spanish pussy, yellow pussy, hot pussy, cold pussy, wet pussy, tight pussy, big pussy, bloody pussy, fat pussy, hairy pussy, smelly pussy, velvet pussy, silk pussy, naga hide pussy, snapping pussy, horse pussy, dog pussy, mule pussy, moose pussy. If you don't have it, you don't want it."
Moving along to page 59, we have Don Knotts' Chet. Donnie, take it away. Take one.
Take advantage of our penny pussy sale. Buy any piece of pussy on to a regular price. You get another piece of pussy of equal or lesser value for a penny. Now try and beat pussy for a penny. If you can find cheaper pussy anywhere, fuck it.
Oh my god. Oh my child.
Last but not least is page 34. We had another mishap. Playing, what do we have here? Playing Bullwinkle as Kate. Take one.
Richie, will you do me a favor and eat my pussy for me? You bet your sweet ass, Moosey.
God damn it, Gary. This concludes Christian Slater's recasting. We'll catch you again next week, folks.
I can totally see Bullwinkle in my mind's eye. I see Bullwinkle and Gary Busey dressed as the Gecko Brothers. And that's it. For this episode, we will be inducting a woman director who does not have a very big body of work, but whose films has made a lasting impression in the world of Insane's Picks Flicks. For this episode, Insane's Picks Hall of Fame, we induct Jackie Kong. Jackie and her mother moved to Hollywood when Jackie was only 16 years old, so that her mother, Anita Liu, could pursue an acting career. Jackie started making short films in high school, then later attended California State University Northridge, where she met filmmaker Bill Osco, the maker of the sexploitation film Flesh Gordon, who she ended up later marrying. Her first film was in 1983 with the horror film classic known as The Being. Jackie made The Being when she was 26 years old. At the time, she was taking acting lessons from Martin Landau, and as the story goes, she only took the lessons so she could talk Martin Landau into acting in The Being. Martin agreed based on her passion for the film and the fact that she was just so truthfully and honest about her intent. And The Being, and so she ended up getting Martin Landau in the film. The Being also stars Jose Ferrer, Ruth Buzzy, and Dorothy Malone. The Being is about a mutated creature that wreaks havoc in a small town in Idaho. The film takes place on Easter and was even originally called Easter Sunday, just in case you're looking for any good Easter-themed horror movies to watch this year. In 1984, she made the screwball comedy Night Patrol, starring such people as Linda Blair, Billy Barty, The Unknown Comic, J.P. Morgan, Jack Riley, Pat Morita, and even the first film appearance of Andrew Dice Clay. Now, her third film, coming back to horror, is the one she is the most well-known for. We're talking the 1987 classic Blood Diner, the film that a lot of people consider to be the unofficial sequel to Herschel Gordon Lewis's Blood Feast. It was originally intended to be the sequel, where they were going to call it Blood Feast 2, but at the last minute, the decision was made to rename the movie, and it became Blood Diner. Now, Blood Diner is a very bizarre horror comedy about two brothers who are persuaded by their uncle, who is a brain and two eyeballs in a jar, to uphold the ritualistic cannibalism of their ancient Egyptian cult of Shatar. They kill young women in order to resurrect the Egyptian goddess. If you have not seen Blood Diner, I highly recommend it. It is streaming on Tubi. It is definitely a sight to behold. Very funny, lots of good gore, and it's just a lot of fun. So we honor Jackie Kong, a strong indie female filmmaker, at a time in a highly male-dominated industry. Now, she only made like 4 films during this time. So if you think her films are, whether you think her films are good or bad, she has been a great role model for others for not letting anyone stand in her way of her art. So for Insane's Picks Hall of Fame, For this week, we induct Jackie Kong.
Very nice.
So that's it, folks. That is this episode of Attack of the Killer podcast. I want to thank you all for listening, and special thanks to the attackers out there for help keeping this show going.
So cool.
You too can, again, be an attacker and get all the extra bonus content by going to jointheattackers.com. Please go there, check it out. Your support helps keep the show going. So until next time, we'll talk to you on the next episode of Attack of the Killer podcast.
Oh no, could this be the end of? Attack of the Killer podcast. Attack of the Killer